The original Plants vs Zombies, released in 2009, put in a fresh spin on the well-worn tower defense genre. Here we are now, some 15 years later, just over in fact, and the replanted version of that classic game has just released on the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. Is this one worth a replant, or is it time to get out the weed killer? Well, thank you to the publishing team for the review code, and now let's find out. So for those of you that haven't played Plants vs Zombies before, we'll do a quick roundup of exactly how it works. Then we'll look at this new version specifically. So as I mentioned in the intro, it is effectively a tower defense game. It's laid out in lanes. You have 5 lanes of your garden with a variety of different zombies, each with their own unique powers or abilities coming towards your house. You need to stop them from doing so by laying a number of different plants, again, each with their own abilities, stopping the horde of dead in their tracks. If they do get to the end of a lane, then your lawnmower will take any zombies out that are in that lane. If they get across that lane a second time, they will enter your house and you will fail that level.
One of the first things you'll need to plant are sunflowers, which, as the title suggests, will produce sunshines. If it's daytime on the map, then you'll be able to collect those as well. And these are your currency for buying new plants.
As you make your way through the adventure mode, there are a number of different settings that you'll encounter, starting with that traditional back garden, but you'll have the nighttime version, which of course means less sun. There's a swimming pool that the zombies will try to get across, meaning that you'll need to put your plants on lily pads in order for them to float, and I believe you end up on a rooftop as well.
The stages take place over a number of waves, getting progressively more difficult until you eventually reach the huge wave. And as the game progresses as well, it becomes so much more hectic.
It does indeed. You're going to need to have your strategic hat on if you want to get through some of the later levels. And it becomes quite a manic existence as you try to manage all of the new plants that are available to you. You'll be asked which of these you want to bring into each stage. You only have a finite amount of slots available, although you can get more of these, along with some other upgrades from your neighbour, Crazy Dave. That's the gameplay really in a nutshell, but we'll look at some of the extra features that were in other versions of the game and some that are obviously exclusive to this replanted version too. We'll start off with the fact that you can play in both co-op or PvP versions this time round. Initially, co-op is only available through the adventure mode. Here, player 2 can join at any time, and you'll share the sunshine currency between you, plus player 2 has the ability to throw butter at the zombies at any time, holding them in place. You do unlock a more dedicated co-op mode after a few levels of play, and here you have your own currency in terms of the sunshines you collect, plus you will get to pick which of the plants you both want, giving each player a bit more independence. At the same time you unlock this mode, you'll also unlock the PvP mode, and here one player will play as the plants, one as the zombies, but it works in a similar vein, player 1 collecting sunshines, player 2 collecting brains as your currency as you put either your plants or your zombies down in order to try and beat your opponent. These modes are available locally, or you can also use Game Share. I didn't try Game Share, so I don't know if there are any restrictions in terms of exactly what you get, but it does at least mean, of course, that you don't need 2 copies of the game. There are a bunch of mini games that you'll play, some of these through the adventure mode itself, but you can play those separate away from that adventure mode too.
And you've got 2 new game modes as well, one called Cloudy Day, which as the title suggests, you're testing your skills on a cloudy day, where sunlight becomes a much more limited resource as those clouds roll in during your gameplay. And there's Rest in Peace mode, which is a brand new hardcore mode featuring permadeath, but it's only available once you've completed the adventure game mode. So they really have done, I think, as much as they can without almost spoiling what is so good about the original. Controls wise, you've got every option available on Switch 2, so you can control using mouse, touch screen, in docked, obviously using a joycon or a pro controller. It does accommodate every different style, and you can change the sensitivity of the on-screen cursor if you are playing using a standard controller.
That's very true in terms of the options, and at this point controls were on for a perfect 20. However, we did come across a very strange bug which is going to affect the score. Basically, when playing in 2-player mode in the adventure mode, there are a number of issues. I had various moments whilst playing in co-op with my wife where player 2's controller would start to control player 1's cursor. This led to absolute carnage, as I'm sure you can imagine. I've put some footage up on screen of the problem. You'll notice that me as player 1, I moved my cursor right 5 times. I pressed right 5 times on the D-pad. I then asked my wife to do the same on her controller. And as you may notice, again, player 1's cursor moves, player 2's does not. The independent co-op mode and PvP is absolutely fine. It only happens when playing adventure mode with 2 people. We have flagged this with the publishing team, who are in contact with the developers to try and get a fix for this. It may be that this has even been fixed via a patch before the game even releases, and no one will ever see this problem but us. But of course I've seen it, so I do have to flag it. Gameplay is the same fun it's always been. It's a fantastic game. Very strategic as you get further into the levels, gets very manic, and the addition of multiplayer modes and those new harder challenges mean that gameplay scores 19 out of 20. Controls, as I mentioned, were on for a perfect score. They've added everything you'd want in the Switch 2 version, including that mouse mode, which is fantastic, but that very strange bug in adventure mode co-op does bring things down. At the minute, all I can give them is 17 out of 20. Let's move on to the visuals now then, and this is a HD remaster of that original game. Aside from that though, it does look pretty much as it did back in 2009. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the game does exactly what it wants to do, with bright, colourful characters, a zany cast of zombies for you to mow down, and the plants themselves are just as good really in terms of being characters of the game. That said, it does feel its age a little bit. On the one hand, the cartoony style doesn't really age, but it doesn't really do anything to push the envelope at the same time. All I can say is that it's very suitable for the type of gameplay that's at hand. I should also mention that this replanted version does include an archive which has concept art and images of the game throughout the years, showing some of the early designs for the plants and the zombies and the levels themselves, of course. This is a nice touch. I love it when games have little extras like this included.
Sound and audio is also very strong, very iconic, as is the artwork, but the audio loop is a little shorter, and potentially there are some players that may find it becomes a little overly familiar by the end of your playtime, but still there's not much negative to say about the music. It is good, even though a shorter loop.
Visuals, I would say, do exactly what they need to do for this type of game. Really, it's all about the gameplay, but they have that charm that keeps you hooked and keeps you wanting to see what the next batch of zombies will look like, what sort of plants you'll unlock as time goes on. They get 16 out of 20. Audio, very much as Mark said, whilst the short loop is very catchy, and again, I think that's exactly what you need in such a game, and the groans of the zombies are also fun to listen to. You get 17 out of 20. Plants vs Zombies Replanted costs £17.99 on both Switch 1 and Switch 2, and regional equivalents are on your screen now. Now, the adventure mode, I would say, lasts approximately 8 hours. There are the other modes to try as well, of course, plus the addition of both co-op and PvP modes this time round.
And if you have the Nintendo Switch 2 version, that's almost the best value because you can game share. So with one console you can share to 2 players. Yeah, there's not much more you can ask.
Absolutely. Once again, that strange bug will factor into the value score. Thankfully, it doesn't happen in all of the co-op modes, but it does in the adventure mode, which at the minute is an issue. Like I said, hopefully it will be fixed sooner rather than later. But value gets 17 out of 20. To conclude, Plants vs Zombies Replanted is just a great game. It's a fantastic update to what was a great game back in 2009. The mouse mode in particular, I'm very happy to see. Plus, of course, those multiplayer options.
Yeah, it feels exactly as you'd expect, revisiting one of your favourite experiences from back in the day, but with the licks of paint you would like to see, the changes to gameplay that make it more approachable, and new content.
It's just a shame about that bug in 2-player adventure mode, which has brought the score down, of course, and stopped us from being able to recommend this as wholeheartedly as we would have liked, because it's a fantastic game and one that I'd like to see a new generation of gamers experience. Plants vs Zombies Replanted gets a SwitchUp score of 86%. So there you have it, that's our review of Plants vs Zombies Replanted, a game that was on for 90% when we initially did our scores. It was only when we encountered that bug that obviously things dropped down, which is such a shame because it's a great game. Hopefully it will be patched, and if it does, yeah, this is a 9 out of 10, 90% game. And we'll put an update in the top pinned comment to this video when we get word of a patch going live that fixes the issue. We did play some of this on our other channel, SwitchUp Extra. That was the Xbox version before we got the codes for the Switch 2 version. But if you want to see the game being played to get a better understanding of it, or you just want to listen to us having a chat about all sorts of things whilst playing a game, then I'll put a card to that in the top right hand corner. Please do give that a watch. Thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.